We have a public hearing and citizen comments tonight, so if you are interested, both of the sign-up sheets are ready. Give it one time.
We're done. See what
Oh, I signed the wrong stupid thing.
This is the same one. That will be for the public hearing. So if you want citizen comments, this way. Did you want citizen comments? Did you want citizen comments or just a other? That's okay. I have just the first one's why. And then I'll get it answered.
I'm probably shaking around this.
Or
Down the backside.
I was just asking if you wanted, if you meant to sign up for the invite, or if you meant. So I think probably that would be best for just citizen comments. I'll leave your stuff on home. You guys, please give me the microphone. Yep, right. I'll send it. Right. Thank you. Get batteries.
All right, welcome everybody. It's Monday, April 27th at 6:30. Will you stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic that stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. Madam Clerk, do we have a quorum?
Yes, we do.
Okay, thank you. We'll start off with public hearing the one.
Yes, so this is, our proposal to amend the 25-26 fiscal year budget to, account for a grant that we received in the planning and zoning area, that we hadn't planned on, and so, if you have questions on that, Jasmine is here, she can answer anything. It's it's a Smiles grant, right, through Frontier. And her idea is a track the trout kind of art, installation or art kind of along the path. So it would be opening the budget to accept the grant and then to use those funds for that project. The second piece is for the library. As you guys know, the flooding that happened over there was not planned. And so it would be, we are, where did that go? We're asking, Megan, remind me, it's like, 5,000 extra for the repairs, and then there's the $10,000 deductible. We did talk to ICRIC today, and if they are able to recoup any of that money from the original contractor that we believe did not do the job that they were supposed to do, which helped to cause this issue, then they would work to give us some, if not all of that deductible back. But in the meantime, it needs to be paid, and so we need to, or we're asking that we use some of their fund balance to pay that with the hopes that we would recoup it in the end. And then the third piece is in water. And Jason, you might do it better. than
Yeah,
this, but
so-
this-
Just due to the timing of the well five failure last year and the length of time it took to get the chlorine generator online and replumbed. It was actually budgeted for this year over that budget. Because all of the column pipe in the well had to be replaced, so. The $80,000 estimate ended up being 130, I think, and then there was a $50,000 VFD that had to be replaced as well. And like I said, due to the timing, we could have paid for a portion of this out of last year's budget, it just wasn't possible. And it's also to receive $73,000 that URA had excess to reimburse the city to help pay for that well repair.
75,000 from URA.
Well, we were estimating, I think they wrote us a check currently, but we're putting 75, yes, because there may be a little bit more. So they've already given us a check for 73. And this would just put us back to on track to be 50% of our operating budget for the year, which what's calculation is based on.
All right, thank you.
Any questions?
Jim,
So I think this is where you ask if there's any,
public comment
um,
on the public hearing.
Can I ask you, did you write that grant? Thank you so much. I know grants are tedious.
You're doing discussion right now? I'd like to know what traffic crowd was.
Hi, I'm Jonathan. So growing up, there used to be an event during trout days where you'd release trout, and you'd catch them. You have questions and experiencing that, Chief Stevens remembers doing that as a kid as well. However, that is something that we haven't done over time, trapping actual live trout at the city park. So as a nod to that historical activity, a art project was proposed with the Frontier Community Development, Community Resources. At a seminar, we had a Love the Way You Live activity. And many communities in our area are aware of the new walking path that Fuel has installed. And we don't have a location where you can learn about the history of Fuel, especially it's a shock to some individuals to learn that we are the trout capital of America. So it was proposed to have something, as you're walking along, a quick little blurb when you read the history of Fuel or trout in our area. And so instead of trapping an actual individual trout, a trout themed art pieces would be created by local artists and community members, each with little bits of history of Buell. And also a mascot trout that would be hidden along the trail that you trap and locate. So that way, as it moves different locations as you're in your walk over the next days or months or whatever, however we'd like to do that. It's a miniature scavenger hunt for visitors to look for our mascot on that trail and use that trail and come to town. And then after you're done burning calories, you can go and explore our downtown area, check out our ice cream place or our awesome other bakeries or coffee shops that we have. But it was intended to have community pride again and have that nod to the trapping the trout history.
That's pretty cool.
Thanks. I do have a timeline where The completion date is estimated March 31st, 2027. So that we're in the beginning of stages of gathering like what exactly is included and to make this happen. I'm gathering some estimates as to what equipment would be needed. The grant is for $5,500. It started out as 500, and then with the Smiles grant, the additional 5,000 was awarded. So that will cover, hopefully, in a small scale, maybe this could be an annual thing, but as a small and first start, cover art supplies, installations, and then advertising, so that way we can get this project going.
Great, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Any other questions from the council? Do we have any correspondence? All right, public excuse me, public testimony and support.
What was it?
Nothing? Yeah. No neutral, no opposition, so now we move. On to the consent agenda. All right, and that consists of minutes of. Oh, I'm sorry. All right, so. All right, so that concludes the public hearing at. Okay, so what time is it? 6:39. All right, now we'll move on to the consent agenda, which includes the minutes of April 7th, 2026, special session. Minutes of April 13th, 2026, regular session. The claims for payment, department head report, public works, and the clerk treasurer report. Do we have a?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? Roll call vote, Marla?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Brett?
Yes.
Cortland?
Yes.
Alright, the next item on the agenda is new business. Review and consideration of an amended appropriations ordinance for fiscal year 2025-2026.
Make a motion to approve consideration of amended appropriation ordinance.
Right, Ruth?
All members of the city council having been furnished a copy of the proposed ordinance number 2026
-05.
and being fully apprised of the consent and purpose of said ordinance. I hereby move that the provisions of the Idaho Code section 50-902, which require that said ordinance be read on 3 different days, 2 readings by title only, and 1 reading which shall be in full be dispensed with, and that said ordinance be passed on 1 reading by title only.
Second.
And I request a roll call vote.
Now I second.
Alright, any discussion? Marla?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Brett?
Yes.
Cortland?
Yes.
Alright.
That was just the waiting of the 3 readings.
No.
Right. You on the side?
Yeah, that's right, it's real.
Motion under the one now. So. Vote to approve the amended appropriation ordinance 2026-05 for fiscal year 2025, 2026.
I'll second.
You hear it on top. Okay. An ordinance of the city of Buell amending the annual appropriations ordinance 2025-12 for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2025. And ending September 30th, 2026, to show an additional revenue and expenditure within the general fund, library fund, and utility fund, providing that tax levy upon taxable property within the city is not affected hereby, and providing an effective date. Hold it. Just gonna. No, I'll second.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Okay. Cortland?
Yes.
Brett?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
Marla?
Yes.
Number 3, review and consideration of presentation of a 10-year administration code. Center police, library, street, and utility department future needs.
We're. You're on number 2.
All right, let's go back. The action item number 2, review and consideration of council spending priorities for fiscal year 2025, 2026.
Yeah.
So when I looked at the different departments, my spending priorities that I would like to work with you all on. The first one is to look at the police department and see how we can get them up to what is competitive with Tyler and other towns around us, so looking at a starting hourly of $26 an hour, and then the next step and rank would be $28 an hour, and then $31 an hour. I know that is going to be tough, but hopefully working with Chelsea, we can figure out if we need to be flexible on some other things. So after that, I say it every year, I don't know if it's gonna happen, but I think it's really important if we were to look at covering health insurance for all city employees. And then in the P and Z position, I noticed that that Jasmine was asking for another like 2 people, but I thought that perhaps we could give that position, Jasmine's position, a salary exempt. And so then she would go to the 40 hours of work, because she's only 32 right now. And so that would hopefully help with that position. And then finally, keeping up with our water, wastewater, sanitation needs. I feel that it's really important that we make sure that those facilities are taken care of, so that there's less, not so much wear and tear, because that's going to happen, but just plan for that, so that we can continue to provide those services to our community. I also have a wish list of things that I would like to see us work together for a grant. I'd really like to work with you all on the pool. I know that I say that, and I'm just, hopefully this year is the year that we find a pool contractor that will show up and give us a bid. I've already talked to people in town locally that are ready to give us money, but they just need a number. And then also, I would love to revitalize our tennis courts, maybe make it a pickleball area too. Again, with look at some grants for that, so not putting that burden on our on our finances and see if we can get some money for that. So not a whole lot. I mean, they're big things, but I just feel like this is a tight year. I also feel like we should encourage our legislators to come in and talk to us about how we can figure out our budget, because things keep, getting taken from the cities financially, so. That's my, funding priority.
I got a question. Are those spikes here, so are they $10,000 a piece, or is that for the whole floor, for the whole sum? That's what okay. You really? No. Yeah, I say like the handrail, the next is talking about, we can make that happen. So, and maybe some curbs and gutters, you know, just around them. Because, yeah, some of them back. Well,
I went to the Water Works meeting with water guys, and we brought up a lot of issues that are maybe not issues yet, but are fastly gonna become issues if we don't plan ahead. So just from that meeting, I learned a lot about stuff I didn't know, or just our water pressure problems, and I'd like to see if there's a way that we can start moving forward with that stuff. And then well one is not good, right?
Still running.
Still running.
It needs to rebuild.
Yeah, so it's expenses that I would hate to be in a situation like we were with well five and not be ready for it. And so be proactive and fix some of that stuff beforehand. So, and further down the road, 20 years from now, we got a plan for future development, and our wells are probably not gonna support that, so looking for new location for wells and that kind of stuff costs a lot of money, so I found that out last week, so that's kind of priorities that I mean, I talked to the water guys, and one of them made a really good point. He's like, we are responsible for everybody drinking water for 5,000 people. And when you put that into perspective, like, it's a big deal. Like, you take it for granted, it comes out of your faucet, or it's a big deal. That stay in compliance and that it works. Yeah.
And then Jason, if you can help me with this, so our utilities, they have to be self-sustaining, they're called enterprise funds, so we cannot take money from our general fund and fund our water, sewer, trash, correct? Yeah, so that makes it, that is why we have a rate committee also to help us, so that we can have input from different stakeholders, to give us how they would want to, they just give their input too.
No, it's just a discussion, right, so. Yeah. All right, the next item. Review and consideration of presentation of tenure administration code, UND Parks, Rec, Police, Library, Street, and Utilities, Department's future needs.
Yes, so you guys have all of those spreadsheets. So this was basically the departments looking at what we need. And then you guys just told us what your kind of priorities are. And then when we go back and we create the budgets, we make sure that we're trying to align as best we can. But if any questions on these, we're happy to take them. I think all of the department heads are here. So I guess, I don't know, do you want us to go line by line and just? Yeah, time to talk about everything? Okay. The first one in that packet should be the admin, future needs. The top two, we've been saving for several years. It's for the HVAC replacement and the water heater replacement. And so it looks like we have a couple more years of just setting money aside. Hopefully, everything stays in working condition. And then in a few years, we'll be able to hopefully replace those. The code update codification, I believe that this is for redoing our entire code book. So that's kind of one that would be wonderful if we could start working on that next year. Yeah, we'll kind of see how it all goes, but that's what that one is. The Clearwater financial retainer is in there, as well. You guys have heard from them. Personally, I feel like that's they've been super beneficial for me, and the comp plan and redoing that, updating that. So, that is sounds redundant, but in my opinion, a necessary need. Let's see. That police entrance and alley transition sidewalk replacement, do you remember anything about that? It was in here already, and it had a projection for this coming year.
It was to add in, I think, $5,000, so we'll save it up for when that parking lot, some of that back alley needs to be replaced.
Back here,
Or back here.
is it?
No,
That's
it's over here.
over there, okay,
And it was just one of those savings that for when the time comes
Oh.
to place that concrete stuff back here.
okay. The building security cameras and keypads, part of that has started already. The cameras have been installed, keypads have not, so that would still kind of be in the mix. Computer and technology, that's several years down the road. We're doing pretty good. On that. For the conference room, that's actually an old P and Z. Turning that into a conference room, my understanding is not only for city staff, but also if the public needs a meeting space, they could come in and use that room, because it's pretty big. There's only like a table in there right now, so we would need some kind of furniture to furnish that. The other one, Jeremy, that I was wondering about is the reader board at the new building.
That we just replaced with the existing sign on cover.
Okay.
That was something that Jason and I were looking at.
Okay.
If we wanted to do electronically,
Citywide, that's what I was thinking, okay. So that I have in 26, 27, but it may not necessarily be that may be in a couple of years that we look at that again, since you just replaced that one. And that is all that we have.
For your fire alarm system, was that this year that you did it?
Yeah, so they actually, they actually just were doing it the last week and today. So these new little white things, they used to be the old, like, yellowy beige colored ones. So yeah, they came in, replaced the whole panel, and new fire alarms.
Oh, yeah. And so then the HVAC is expected to hopefully make it to 2027, 2028. That I know. But we've been putting money.
Yeah. Yep. Do you guys have any questions on that one?
Yeah, just the police entrance and alley transition.
Mm-hmm.
So does that go with on the police department one, does that go with the 5,000 or?
I think it originally started when we were over here for that, and then it rolled over, it never got migrated out, yours totally never mind.
Oh,
I think it was that
okay,
was
okay,
for that part.
that could be. Okay,
Cause at that time, we
Millions.
were looking at that, we were still over here.
so I think we could take that police entrance just off, since it looks like it's on yours. So yeah, take that off. Any other questions?
Also, when we approve these, will we have to amend this one?
So I was looking back through and the agenda has them listed as action items, but there's not really, this isn't really an approval. Yeah, it's more like for our knowledge so that when we create the budget, we know kind of what you guys thought about it. It wasn't necessarily that they went and approved everyone in the past.
And don't we usually do a piece of the pie? that
Yeah.
we-
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually talk about specific amounts.
Yeah. That's kind of. Okay, so then the next one is planning and zoning. Jasmine, you want me to walk through it or do you want to?
This is a wish list, not everything. So last year, we did have the budget of 5,000 for the furniture for moving into the PD offices, and so that did not roll over for the next upcoming budget year. The future need of having a support staff for admin or planning technician. The intent is to improve the coverage and the single person dependency in a department, especially if planning and zoning is intended to grow as an independent department in the future. And so it was put in the next couple of years to see if that is something that could be supported, especially with trying to figure things out regarding fee increases and other contract labor adjustments that are coming down the pipeline. I'd want to see how that pans out. And to see if a future staff member could be added. Permit tracking software, I have talked to between 4 to 5 companies that provide permit software. They are expensive, especially the initial setup, and then it's a annual reoccurring subscription or whatever you want to call it, fee to maintain that software. That is not reflected on the spreadsheet, but because it is on here as potentially a line item and an estimate of what I have now, that estimate could change in the next few years, but that's just something to keep in mind. The tracking software would not only keep track of building department permits, but also zoning department. And then the phone landline connection, because the police department relocated and removed their phone number from the actual landline services. That side of the building doesn't have a landline phone, so you call the city cell phone. And so in order to rewire the place so I can connect to city admin's phone lines, not sure exactly how much it would cost to rewire. That's just a placeholder amount, but that is something I will be researching in this next year to see how much that would be to rewire and fix that, or whatever other options are for phoning. And then just the standard capital replacements of like technology and cleanup. There is a bathroom in that department that over time, some of the items would have to be replaced because of use. And I'm showing that workstation replacements, if I am to have 4 workstations, I currently have 1. So if I were to have 3 additional spots, or excuse me, I have 2, 1 for my mapping and for Jason and then myself. So if I were to add 2 additional spots, replacement or upgrading every 5 to 7 years, trying to push it to the 7-year mark for technology. And then carpet cleaning is my just request for this next budget year, and I inherited the space, but I'm open to any other questions if you have any.
I did send you guys an updated spreadsheet, and I'm just noticing that this one that is printed is not reflective of that. So, sent it to your email. If you have the email pulled up, you'll see we talked about it today. We kind of adjusted some of the, years that you're wanting them, as well as some of the numbers on there, so. Apologies about that, for not getting that printed. The big, if you don't have it in your email, I guess I'll just.
Yeah.
Do you care if I
Go
just
for it.
grab really, yeah, the big changes is, we. Instead of this, for the 32-hour additional employee, instead of this fiscal year, or this coming fiscal year, and instead of 50,000, we started that at 40,000. And starting in 27, 28, and then increasing that by 3%, down the line. And then that 19-hour employee, instead of also doing for the 26, 27, it is starting in 30, 31, at the 20,000. And that is a somewhat rough estimate, but fairly close, including benefits. So it wouldn't just be the hourly rate, it would be their actual hourly rate plus medical and all of that would come up to that cost. And then the other change was the carpet cleaning. Oh, we reduced the phone. We kept the 8,000 in 27, 28 because we weren't quite sure on the wiring. But then going forward, that would just be the annual cost of the phones, and moved that down from 4,800 because that seemed a lot, down to 2,500. And then, the carpet cleaning, we moved to this, rather than waiting 3 years to get the carpets cleaned, we moved that need to the 26, 27 projections. So that is in your email, but yeah, I apologize about that.
Yeah, oh, okay.
And the reasoning why we pushed back, aside from figuring out if revenues, can justify having staff. Also, we do have a projected growth of 3, potentially 4 subdivisions that are quite populated. We have about 300 plus residential lots to be proposed in the next 2 to 5 years. So having that, those needs regarding that administrative support, or the permitting part. Part of the changes with the contract labor, there has been discussed that they do also perform duties for permit technicians. So if that alleviates some of that, then we'll see what my sheet looks like next time.
That's what I was gonna ask, if we take on employees, will the contract labor go down? Will some of that work be?
If the employee were certified for like building inspections, because that's what the contract labor is mainly for. Our building inspector is a contracted employee, and if we were to obtain someone who is licensed and make them an employee, then that would be something we'd have to crunch numbers with Chelsea to see what the benefits would be between that or a contract. I have heard from other agencies it is hard to find someone with the license. We have tried that in the past as well. We've had we gave them a time frame to get their licensing. So, but you never know.
Yeah, just a couple of things that I thought of when looking at this. So yeah, so I thought that before we move to, I mean, like 2 more entry-level positions, I think that we should move Jasmine's position to full-time, with the salary exempt. And then see how we do next year, see where the workload is, and then we can have a better educated guess on the following years. The other one was the landline connection. I just, so my husband has a web-based landline, whatever, and it's $61 a month. So I don't know, I mean, I don't know if like Brianna could transfer you over there, but I feel like for that minimal amount, we could just create a new telephone number and then they could just work with you directly. I mean, it works great for us. I'm just trying to figure out how we can.
I don't know, that number I just pulled out of
Yeah,
there,
okay.
honestly.
Yeah.
Cause I don't know what it would be to match the existing infrastructure that admin's using to like re-adopt me
Yeah,
into that
Yeah.
space.
I just thought that if, that money saved could lend to like, the bathroom or something, we could do that. So that was,
Yep.
that was all I had that. And then the LED replacement.
I took that off on the new
Oh, you
sheet.
did? Oh, okay.
Yes, after having, Jason helped me with the lighting and his staff helped rewire some of the lighting in there, and so now it's brighter than not need replacement at this time. Yep.
Well, thanks, Jen.
Yep, you're welcome.
Okay, next, is code and police.
Guess I answer guys' questions if you guys have any questions on some stuff. Some of it, we did some things this year that we had on from last year, but the future parking lot one we already discussed for the $5,000, saving up for that one. Our firearms, sidearms, based on with our range master is looking at a program to hopefully do a buyback that we could reduce that cost for the firearms from the 15,000, but here in the next year or two, they're gonna be coming up on kind of their life cycle. We did patrol rifles a couple years ago, and then now these are our pistols. And then the spike strips, we have some units with them, some without, as an approximate guess per unit. We've been called upon by two agencies last month. We didn't have them to stop two pursuits coming into our town, so this year, our goal is to try and get every patrol unit equipped with that to handle those type of situations. Some of the stuff I put further out towards the years, I know when we had COVID, we got a bunch of COVID money, which gave us the money to put in the MDTs and the patrol cars. They're gonna be hitting their life expectancy probably in the next 2 to 3 years, will be 7, 8 years old. And so most of the MDTs will need to be replaced. I have that number for the $50,000. That's what it cost approximately when we had them put in 2020, I think it was, for like 2021. What's that?
So now it's 100.
Yeah, now it's probably gonna be more, but that was all that I have on some of them. The other things was the carport over there eventually, it was discussed in phase 2, that building, but we pushed that out even further. We just need to get some stuff cleaned up underneath there as far as that old drag teller. I don't know what that'll cost to do all that stuff. It was just, I just put it in there, and then kind of way out in the future, 2030, 2032 and 2035, depending on where our development is, adding an officer at that time, but that is dependent on subdivisions and going on, but there's kind of things to keep in mind. Our patrol radios in 2033, they'll probably have hit their life expectancy. We've been pretty fortunate with Jackie Fry, we've gotten grants to cover those. The last 2 times, I think even under Ron Romero, Chief Foster, and then me, we've gotten those replaced by grant money and our patrol cars. But I still, just in case those grants aren't available at that time, it's kind of the estimated for that to keep up. Code services, this is the first year having code services under the police department. So we did run into last year, this might run into more computer laptop licensing software and stuff to add that position. I don't know why I got pulled over there, but it's supposed to be moved out. Her laptop will probably be due about 2030 to be replaced. But the software for the Axon RMS and also report, our current system that we have in place was about $3,000 to add those licensing. And so that would be more of a yearly cost now. Citations, depending on how many she goes through, but every other year we add about $700 to, I think right now we bought some citations for her and she's good for this year and maybe into next year, but. And then, she does have cleanup costs. This is kind of new. And she asked that we kind of put some of the stuff in to kind of save up for it, as some of these properties need to be abated. The city has to cover that cost and then it gets tax linked. So she's kind of built up this savings for the next 4 to 5 years that of about $1,000 added to it, so. We do have to abate a property or tax lien it. Kind of offset some of that cost. So this year, as we move forward in the budget process, we'll look at her budget and. Code services, but these are just kind of things off the top of our heads. Training will be the other thing. Her training budget, we'll work on through that this year, but.
Does she need a specific laptop?
No, we just, instead of doing a desktop at the time where she's always on the go, instead of a MDT slash, she's licensed both, so we do a laptop, instead of a desk. Like sorry, in the police department side, I had computers and stuff in there, normally our desktops would be replaced and then
Yeah,
she instead, so.
so we could, so if it just can be any laptop,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
because I mean. A really nice one at Costco is under $1,000.
Yeah. And I didn't know at that time, usually we give it to Ben Stevens, so I just threw it in there.
Okay. Yeah.
But usually that costs, some of that is with Ben programming or with our software.
That's what I was wondering, if that was an extra. Yeah, I would, I mean, I know I talked about this for future, for our spending priorities, but. I would like to see the police departments, these costs as minimal as possible so that we can. Get those officers paid.
Yep. And that's why I left it
Okay,
doesn't have to necessarily be this coming year because I know that's what we were gonna work on, but.
Yeah. but I think.
It's just planting those seeds that, hey, it's, time goes on, these are
Yeah.
gonna
But I think that there are opportunities and I mean, I'd be happy to do some research too, or help you with some grants, like a taser for, I mean, I think that you could get a sponsor from the local business or just trying to alleviate the costs.
Some of those expenses I try to take out at the end of the budget year, like if we have some extra money left in that budget. Those low items like that, I will just go ahead and purchase at right around August is when I'll start kind of making those purchases towards the end of the budget year.
I have a question on the vehicle purchases, it says we buy a new vehicle, is that just one vehicle?
So we've been on a schedule of replacing a vehicle every year, because right now we're getting about 10 years, 100,000 miles out of the vehicle. And so we offset that last year for some of the building costs. So I was gonna put it in this year's budget so we can get rid of our 2014. It's exceeded its life. And next year, if we can get rid of that, it'll be right at, it'll be over 10 years and just at 100,000 miles. And so we try to, so we don't have what happened a few years ago where we were robbing Peter pay call to get patrol vehicles up and running and stuff. And so we've just been on a replacement of every year. It's kind of,
How many so do we have a 10?
yeah, usually, yeah, the officers have. But it's kind of on, we usually do that up to, depending on how the budget goes, so.
Library.
So, future eventual, some of the things that I didn't see on one of the ones that I saved, but I might have sent the wrong one. One of the things that we noticed when, when Little was working on our roof, they when the back section of the library was added on, there wasn't a water barrier added between the siding and the building itself. So in the future, we need to look at, replacing the siding and making sure that we include that water barrier just to ensure the safety of the books, and the building itself. Look, I roughly sketched about $20,000 for that project. Haven't gotten quotes, haven't gotten bids. And then Chelsea and I had discussed, after I had talked to the board, our front door is finicky. So the left, as you're exiting the building, the left-hand side opens just fine, no big deal, but the right-hand side, you have to be really intentional as you push it, because we have a old locking mechanism that runs the length of the door. And so I wanna say it was like $500 to have someone come in and clean it. It may or may not fix the issue, but it was, limp it along until I'm looking at getting grants to see, and look at either funding the replacement doors or in tandem with getting a handicap button to use for moms with strollers and things. And then just the ongoing schedule, looking at replacing technology about every 5-6 years, and then hoping at some point to add an additional staff member, but at this point in time, we're kind of just doing what we can with what we have.
Is there, that $10,000 donation?
Yes.
Is that still, did you spend that?
That has been
It's
spent,
been-
it was
okay.
spent on the reconstruction of the back of the library.
And you just said that you have or have not gotten bids for
Have not.
the door, okay. And I'd be interested to see, and again, work with you.
Yeah.
to Figure out, because I really would have enjoyed that with a stroller.
Absolutely.
Went to the library.
Absolutely. Well, and I know there's a grant through the Association of Rural and Small Libraries for some of those things, and we definitely qualify for that with the population size that we serve. And so we have a couple of options, but looking into some of those options to make sure that we are not relying as heavily on our budget and being able to pull in some of those other community resources that may or may not be available, so.
Yeah.
You have any questions?
Good. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, then we have all our citizens, parks, streets. I don't know if you wanna.
Artists.
Sure.
Thank you.
Are we down to all my stuff?
Huh?
Are we down to all my stuff?
Yep. Last but not least.
Parks, I didn't change it much, replacement equipment. And spread out, we're always looking for grants,
Can I, that Blue Cross, grant, that dollars, is there an expiration date on that?
I don't know about that one.
I just feel like it's been on that for a while.
Yeah, where,
When's it grant?
I didn't apply for it, I didn't get it, so I don't know what,
Pickleball court? Right, and price.
Yeah.
well, or, yeah, we're pool stuff. That's one thing about, you mentioned the tennis courts,
Yeah,
we don't have any tennis courts,
I know, but I thought that maybe we could I know it's the schools.
it's the school property, yeah, so
Yeah.
I don't know where they stand on that.
Yeah, well, it
But
didn't
I-
sound like anybody had any connection or wanted to leave it the way it was, but I mean, their names are on there. I
Mhm.
can I can ask.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of history involved with that. Our biggest thing is just keeping the pool running. There was 175,000 on future needs, which would be a matching fund on a grant in the event that we were to get one. And the mower purchase is kind of always there. We get as much life out of them as we can, but when it goes, then it's got to be replaced. But there's really not much on that. They need, probably look at replacing one of their vehicles in the 27, 28 on its last leg. So not much to parks and rec, is there?
How many parks does Bill have?
How many parks? Oh, well, baseball, Eastman, McCluskey. There's a little one down on Old Farm and Crawford up in. Denver. Acreage is quite a bit, actually.
Yeah.
Going on the other things. Or we want to go next, streets.
Perfect.
Streets, I don't have much on there for next year. I mean, we're gonna have to look at getting the sweeper replaced. It's amazing that thing, you get 6,000 miles on it right around town. But that was last year's mileage on it. But I think it'll probably hold out till 2030. The backhoe, once it hits about 5,000 hours, it's starting to get pretty loose, the pins are getting worn out, so we're hoping, projected it'll be 27, 28. And then a loader, you know, 4 or 5 years out of it. The 6-yard dump truck. It was ×2, probably should change that number to 100,000 instead of 200,000. They're almost 200,000 new, but we're not looking for a new one. We did purchase one, but same thing, we've had the other one in the shop, they don't make the parts for brakes anymore. In those particular trucks, so. Just have to replace it. And that's a 1992 model, I believe. The 200,000 for street project grants is just matching funds in the event, again, if we get a grant. And then the possibility of maybe replacing the hydrovac. Or maybe not even replace, but get an additional one. The thing's out almost daily. Used by parks, by us, water uses it, everybody uses it for excavation. Any questions on the streets? And then the big one for utility funds. These aren't all gotta be done next year, but they're just an outlook of what they are. The tank maintenance, the first one was like on there twice, refinishing the water tank. The newer of the 2 tanks needs paint job on the inside. The older tank's been done. Bids on that were $250,000 at the time. So I'm guessing it's probably 300 now at minimum, and that was with several bids on it. The new well we plant, which we've discussed for years. Engineers estimates are 1.5. What's the new well? That's not with the property acquisition either, so, we are looking at. Maybe seeing how feasible it would be to another park that we don't have, Barker Park. It was donated to the city, I couldn't tell you when, but, wouldn't be a terrible place to put a well at, and it's out on the, crossroad from Moonbow, out in the south end of town. That third one, replacing water plant equipment, that 50,000 rollovers. Usually in the budget every year in case of an emergency. So we don't have to do amendments to pay for a failed VFD or something like that. And then move down to the SCADA, which is next year. We'll probably have to save or figure on saving for that. SCADA stands for Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition. That's the programs that run the entire water plant and monitor everything. So if something fails, it calls one of the on-call people to go up there, take care of it. It's about $150,000 to upgrade that system. So something we need to think about probably for the next 3 years, save up for it. Also, the third arsenic filter is in the plan. And the water studies brought a lot of this stuff to light. I call on numbers, it's 1.5 for a new filter. That would go in the bay where the plant was designed to handle it. Well, one rebuild. Making the assumption it's gonna be about as bad as well 5 will be pushed till next budget year. Well 5 was actually supposed to be this year, but didn't. So we're budgeting 150 for that. Those are things that we will want to do in the fall or the winter when the water demand is not as high. You see the rebuild arsenic filters on there, that's about every 15 years. Those need to be done just for your information. And the arsenic settling pond at the treatment plant is going to require an evaporation test or a leakage seepage test and relined. Most likely going to be relined. It's been there for 15 years. So the test itself is 15,000. If it needs to be relined, the total would be 40,000. And then the pressure zones, which the water study also brought to light, would be 600,000 is probably low end on that. You'd have to save up 4 or 5 years to figure that one out. And we're always going to be looking for like grants to do that stuff. And the last thing on water is the clay valves on the PRVs and a few other items, and they're scheduled to be done in 27, and they're $25,000 to rebuild. Any questions for water?
I got a question. How come well 6, can you explain why well 6 isn't that tank is dry?
And the tanks, well 6 isn't being run. It was put in prior to the new arsenic regulations. So well 6 is the highest arsenic in town that we have. And the way it's designed is the well pumps into the tanks, directly into the tanks, pre-treatment. And then from there, it used to go into distribution, it was chlorinated on site, but now that we have to treat it, it's pumped into the tanks from the well and boosted to the treatment facility, treated there and put back into distribution. So it's not feasible to do that. The power costs to pump it that far up the hill are extreme, and then the fact that we have to treat it for so much arsenic. So we are looking at plans to possibly put the tank itself into distribution as another storage facility, because it's going to look like we're gonna have another pressure zone with this pressure compliance that we're gonna have to do. So right now we have 2 zones, a south zone and a central zone. We would probably go Poplar Street and make a 3rd zone, so we'd have a central and a north and south. So, but that's why.
Still gotta go up there, get treated, and that, right? Or you.
Well, 6 would, yes, so. The hope is we could find another well site and the water rights that are tied to that well. The hope is we could find a well site where the arsenic wasn't as high as that. And it's above the treatment plant. Hopefully it didn't have any arsenic, and we would just chlorinate on site, pump it directly into distribution. Ideally.
Yeah, just saw that.
So it's just not cost effective to run it. It will work if we need it in an emergency. We fired it and it does pump, and it's just not cost effective to run it.
Cool.
So if we were gonna use the well 6 just for storage, we would just pump water down to it and store it there.
We would have to redo some plumbing on that itself, with some bypass valves to where it would fill and create head pressure to feed that lower section. So.
Cause you could use that for those meals then.
Right. Yep.
Don't mind.
Hopefully, you probably haven't all read the water study. We can get you a copy. The full thing is 250 pages, but the first 5 chapters. They're also going to be putting together a capital improvement plan to go along with that to give us ideas of what we're looking at in cost and more detailed information than what I'm giving you.
That's also why I felt like it was important to ask Cameron, your letter to come and talk to us too, to help.
Yeah,
Give
we're
us
always
some
trying to.
guidance.
Summarize it.
Yeah.
So the water study has to be done in order to, most of the grants want to see your water study before they'll even think about giving you a grant, so. They've been a little overdue, they're about a year behind schedule, but they're almost got it wrapped up.
How many years is our water study good for grants? Like, how long do you have to have a water?
5 to 7 years. So you gotta spend 166,000 every 5 to 7 years to get a grant.
Yeah.
Grants aren't free money. They usually require matching funds. Move on to sanitation.
Yeah.
Nothing much in there, just to save it up for the trucks. We do replace cans buy more cans when we do need them. I think it's the last 2 years, I think it's been every other year that we bought cans. So hopefully we caught up, a lot of them were broke. But every other year, every 2 years, when we buy more cans, and then the trucks is just. What we figure every 8 years, I think, is on the trucks to replace them. It may be something we might want to look at the lease program. But the only thing is we have to have a backup truck, because if we don't, then the garbage isn't gonna be picked up. They're about $500,000 a piece, trucks.
That's not new.
It is new. It's hard to find a used truck that's not completely wore out.
So I had a question, so have we always picked up garbage twice a week?
As long as I've been here, I don't know when that began, I mean forever.
Yeah, I was just wondering, is there a reason? That we decided to do?
Creates unrest if you don't.
And businesses are everyday.
Some businesses
Some
are,
businesses.
depending on where they are on the route. The downtown businesses, they hit those alleys daily. Yeah, it's all been looked at several times, but
Yeah.
nobody wants to give up there twice a week.
Yeah, cause we did look at that to see if we could just contract with a company, and the numbers were just not, I was not comfortable. We were a better deal than contracting.
Yeah, twice a day.
Yeah. Well, even once, I think. It was given to us as once, wasn't it, once a week? Or was it?
I know they were gonna keep, PSI was.
They were gonna keep it twice,
I
though.
think Western was the one that said only once. Any more for sanitation? And we will look at, I'll talk to the companies about what options would be to lease, because 32 years to have a truck in the fleet is a long time. It doesn't get a lot of miles, but it gets a lot of hours.
32 years old. You want it?
Is what it would be if we did one every 8 years. Because we were doing every 20 years. Well, every 10 to buy one, and the oldest truck could go out at 20, but now we have 2 different types of trucks and 2 different routes. It was either that or more, way more staff than another truck. It's grown quite a bit. There's no way they could go back to the old way to maintain it. And then wastewater flood removals on there, we haven't yet done that. I'm still trying to talk to DEQ and see what other options are, but whatever they press out of there. They tell me it's just bugs. Doesn't look like bugs, but, it has to be trucked to. Where is it? Minidoka? To the Miller, the landfill. So it's quite a haul. Load them in the trucks and haul it over there. So we haven't done that. They're still working on their permits, and then once they get that straightened out, we'll probably start hauling that.
How long do you gotta do that?
Well, we haven't, but we were using the old lagoons to store it, so, but at some point we'll have to start hauling it off. Unless it's a certain time frame where they just say it's organic and they can use it for backfill. I mean, I don't know what the rules are. I can't ever get a straight answer out of them. The million, there's matching funds for grants that we put in there every 3-4 year projects. Equipment replacement, that's also basically just an emergency fund. We don't touch it unless something blows up out there. The truck that they use when they press is Street's old adopted truck. It's getting close to its last leg. We put a clutch in it before we went out there and had to manufacture one. They don't make them anymore, so.
What truck did you do with?
It used to be the old adopted truck. It's what they haul there when they press the sledge truck, they call it. So we need to look at replacing that, and guessing it'll be about 200,000, and it's. Yeah, we'll see where it ends up. The wastewater facility study they're working on currently. And same thing with the SCADA. They're about 200,000. They got way more sensors and pumps and everything else at wastewater. And that's something we're just gonna have to look at. We do have somebody that does it, but we don't have a contract with him. He refuses to have a contract with us, so he's not really accountable for anything, and that's a pretty serious system. And then clarifier maintenance. We're only running at half capacity, so one of the clarifiers is empty, and this revolving thing in there needs a paint job. So we're shooting at the dark, saying that's gonna be 250 to 300,000 to do that. And once we switch ditches, then the other one will need it.
Where's the clarifier there?
What's the clarifier do?
It lets, the heavy stuff flow down, and that's what we take out and we waste, or it gets returned back into the plant. But, then like some greases or stuff will float to the top and scrape that off into a trough and waste that also. So it just makes the water really clean. It comes from the oxidation ditch, it's brown like something else. And then it goes over to the clarifier and it can clear right through.
You didn't know what it was? You can go swimming in it. Josh, go. Take your facilities.
I think you should have that. I learned a lot when I went.
And if anybody's interested on meeting me one-on-one to go over the budget with any questions you have, even the O&M budget for the year, to get a better understanding of it, I'm available. Because this is brand new to almost all of you, so
Yeah,
I'm sure it's a little intimidating.
thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Scott.
Okay. Next item is. Action item number 4, review and consideration council meeting procedures and rules.
I'll make a motion, to approve resolution 2026-4. Outlining council meeting procedures and rules to allow, any matter of city business to be discussed during citizen comments.
Second.
So I was wondering, why wasn't it like that before, I guess? You have one to
So, I believe it's because occasionally when you get into a more than just a comment, like it goes into more of a question and answer or a dialogue, and it's on something that's on the agenda, that can be considered a public hearing. And there's specific, very specific, publishing guidelines when it comes to public hearings, that they've got to be published at least 15 days in advance, there's gotta be notice out there, all that kind of stuff, so you run the risk of violating those open meeting laws. So when we were talking about this, and this is just, stop me if you want, but the biggest thing I think is that we already have this isn't a question and answer with council, right? Like, citizens come up, they do their, what they wanna say, and then if it does require an answer, I think we've kind of gotten in the habit of bringing answers back rather than trying to discuss in the moment. And so I think that that would be something that we just really put an emphasis on going forward. That if we do allow comment on agenda items, which we haven't done in the past, that we just make sure that you guys, make sure that it's not a comment, conversation that's happening. They make their comments, and then again, if there needs to be an answer brought, it is brought either at a public hearing or at a different time.
And that's just law, like, we don't make it up.
No. What do you mean?
Like open meeting laws and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
We can't break it.
Yeah, when I went to one of the trainings, up in Boise for AIC, it was all about public comment, and it is definitely, you just have to listen, and it is not a question and answer, because that's a liability for the city. So if you can say thank you for your comment, and then move on, and then I think we've done a good job of, if someone has a public comment, then we've circled back at the next meeting, when we were able to get the answers.
A motion and a second, was there any discussion? Alright, alright.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Brett?
Yes.
Portland?
Yeah.
Next up is mayor and council comment. Okay.
We'll do it.
All right, we have discussion, council discussion regarding the parking ordinance. Yeah. So this is for all of you guys to discuss ideas and come up with something.
All right, I'll go first. I sent an email to Chelsea, with just an idea for parking. I think, we went from not enforcing a 72-hour parking ordinance to, you could only load and unload. And I think it went from one extreme to the other. So talking with police chief and fire chief, I kind of came to the conclusion that something in between just loading your vehicle and 72 hours might kind of meet in the middle, so. And then after talking about, there's a lot of talk about what's enforceable and what's not, and. I mean, like, if it was within one shift of police department, they thought that that's something that they could enforce, so. This one that I proposed is 12 hours. And then the other thing, just to keep safety in mind and being able to move. Nobody, I don't think anybody wants to see trailers stored on public roads. So I thought if it was always hooked up to a motor vehicle, it'd be easy to move and less likely to be stored on the road. So that was kind of just for the safety purposes, to be able to move it if there was an emergency. So, and that was just, it's just a trailer parking ordinance. I didn't have anything around on RVs or anything, because I felt like those big motorhomes, they're already, our ordinances against parking those on the streets, the same as like a semi, so. So. Kind of where I was going with it, I guess, so. You guys got a chance to look at it. Figured it was a starting point.
I was in alignment with that, I said like 14 hours, 14. That way, you know, you can get your stuff done, you can get up, down, go have fun. Be neighborly.
I'm in agreement with the 12 hour. I think that's very enforceable, very respectful for all citizens to be able to generally utilize their trailers. And have fun with them.
And everything else is in the ordinance already. About commercial utilities, all the things.
And I guess the other thing is like, people being able to work. Or to the house and be able to work there, and. They're not likely to be parked out there for more than 12 hours, so. The thoughts. And if you were coming home at night, would you be able to. Park your trailer in front of your house and leave in the morning? That's kind of a thought.
Wake up in the morning, send it out.
Yeah.
Marla?
Yeah, yeah, I mean, I gave it a lot of thought, and I really liked, Fred, when you said that the trailer has to be hooked up to, a vehicle. I thought that was really important. Where I'm at right now is that, you know, when I was elected to serve, I didn't have an agenda. I didn't have special interest groups. I just wanted to help. And public safety is my concern, but if the majority of people who are speaking up want it this way, then that is how I need to vote. So, that's where I stand. A part of me is really sad, because I just feel like this opens up a lot more issues with children getting around, and a Buell police officer told me that one time there were so many trailers around and he was at one call and had to go to another call and just had to drive through someone's yard. But again, people have spoken, so I will go with whatever is the majority.
And public safety is always number one, you know, should be.
Should be.
So be neighborly, you know, park your trailer with blocking people. Just be that simple.
Marla, would you like us to draft that when it's legal? Is any kind of, no, it's good.
Draft what?
Would you like us to draft something up, these changes, present to legal and bring something back to in council meetings?
I mean, I'm good with whatever you guys want. Is that what you guys?
Let's get it over with. Let's get it over with. We can move on to this important.
I'll draft it and then we'll send it over and then it means everything you guys want to vote on. Great, if not, we'll do it again.
Have you heard anything from the public yet? The 209 people who's signed?
We will address all of that.
So we're not gonna go anything solid here, right? With that,
We will go to,
Public hearing.
public hearing. For that.
For 12 hours. Just clarifying.
For what's gonna happen is they're gonna draft this up. It'll go to legal, legal's gonna decide. And then we will public hearing, correct? Tim?
Can you explain the public hearing if we've not been part of that before, please?
We're getting into the question and answer thing again. Public hearing is just where public can talk about like the one we had at the beginning of this meeting.
Okay.
So,
100% this isn't what the citizens
can we,
want. 100% this is not what they want.
that's what the public hearing's for, so
Right.
let's move on. Yeah, so. Mayor and council comments. We need to make sure that we comply with the law regarding, with regards to complete rights issues. If a member of the city council wants to discuss any issues pertaining to complaints, discipline, etc. of a city employee, those will first be discussed with the mayor, who is the chief administrator for Idaho 50-604. After review of the complaint, discipline, etc. If it needs to go before city council, it'll be listed under an executive session on the upcoming meeting agenda. One thing I noticed, last meeting or one before, she brought up a railing on a sidewalk. I know this road works, took care of that issue, the building,
We backfilled it,
so.
it did require railing, we put a block retains the dirt and build it up, so it's not a drop off.
Thank you.
Looks good, thank you.
So I've got some community comments, on 14th Street. I don't know if they were cleaning up the fire hydrant or, checking it, but a bunch of water ran down both sides of the road, like below the baseball fields. And so somebody didn't know if there was water line broke or something.
Railroad Company Canal,
Uh,
there's a structure at the top of that street that sometimes plugs up and runs over and it'll run right down.
And then I talked to a student at Beal High School, well, I put a bug in his ear about a senior project for the baseball field for Mr. Best. Dr. Cannon's parent, Bonnie. But I haven't got Dr. Cannon yet, so I don't know if he's gonna do it, but it'll be great. And then the American 250, the flags in the football field and paint the field, that'd be, I think that's cool.
What's that?
We were talking about the flags. And maybe utilizing the football field,
Using that grant.
using that grant money, maybe get like a little flag to each person to come and get it. Come in.
That'd be a perfect flag to lock it.
That's
They
what
got
I was
the time.
thinking, that's in the lock it. At night, see. It's gonna be here for a couple of days from
Jumping 2 days, but they gotta be lit.
Okay.
Yeah, and they have to be, surveillance for. I'm not gonna talk to. Joe, do it then.
Yeah, it's not packed, the park's gonna get.
He's the guy up there. With the light.
Oh, God.
Did you guys talk about Jim?
The top was small.
At that 250 meeting? The flags are gonna be here,
I
right? All that thing.
That is something, partly other advice.
Okay.
We were talking about that, you were last week. We're going to be back to the PTSD.
Oh.
It's all the Wall County Courthouse. Before they come here.
Yeah.
Didn't get an idea what it looks like. But yeah. Over all that. That's that one.
Then I just want to say we went to AIC training this week, last week actually, and I got a lot of it. It's cool. So, no, 9 hours of. Having information down to throw out the fire hose. Oh, geez. It was good. Yeah, I learned a lot.
I would highly suggest if you can make it to the June one, it's even better.
You can send me up.
Yeah, I met with a citizen on Wednesday, to talk about, ADA places to put parking. And so, I talked to Jason today, and I was gonna get back with her, so we're just looking for some areas around town that would be better, more ADA compliant, so do we need to, is there anything that we need a specific motion or anything, or just you in contact?
I can just do this.
Oh, right, cool. But I mean, you guys all have places that you can talk to the community, and I have an office, but no one really goes in there, so, I thought that I would like to, like, once a month, just do a coffee thing somewhere in town, cause I really did enjoy getting to talk to them and, yeah, hear their perspective, and maybe I could tie in a different department, so.
Riding the wheelchair.
I did not, I had to go pick up my daughter from daycare, so for preschool, so I did not have time. I know, okay, I know.
I hear that.
Yes.
That's all I have.
I do.
Concludes, the next item is citizen comments. We don't go to us. Right. Yeah. Or you state your name. What
Yeah.
city you live in,
What's that?
and what city that you live in?
Yeah.
State your name and what city you live in.
Sorry about that. My name's Ray Malberg, and I live in the city of Buell, Idaho, or the impact zone of Buell, Idaho. But I'd like to make notice to the board, the council, whatever it may be, there's some interesting reading out there that Donald J. Trump signed an executive order December 7th, 2017. And that order was 13818. And it has some significance to me because one of my family members was absconded with or basically arrested by a JAG officer. He was with a law firm or firm or I don't know if he would say a litigator or attorney or, but anyway, if you guys would look that up and read that, that's just basically a notice that was happening at this point. But that's been 9 years, but that's been not adjudicated, but it was ratified through executive order through Donald Trump, and that was 13818. So I would just like to make notice of that because really can't individually talk to everybody on the board or anything else. I mean, that's not kosher. So
Gotcha.
anyway, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good things.
All right, Amanda.
Amanda Hopkins, and I do live in the city limits. There was a couple of things that I just wanted to say. I think that grants have always been an issue for your budgeting and things, and so, I would like to see you guys reach out to the community. I know that we had a grant writer at one time that was free. She just wanted to help, and so that's, I think, something that should probably be prioritized for you guys. There's a lot of people in this town that would love to help if they know the need. I just wanted to touch base, on your parking issue. So I'm gonna ask the fire chief if that's okay, if his stance, he had said in a prior meeting that you felt 72 hours was okay. Has your stance changed at this time, or is it kind of the same as our code enforcement officer, which feels like the 72 hours is enforceable for cars, and she felt like it was enforceable for trailers? It's just that that's not what was on the books at the time for her, so I think that's something that really needs to be considered. There are lots of these meetings, they're on recording. You can go back, you can listen to them. It's also untrue that this has only been brought up one time. It had been brought to a vote 2 other times. We've had many people write in when I sat on city council after this was done. We were also told at the time that I voted for it as well, that this was not going to be something that was enforced, and it was not enforced for a while until we had a code enforcement officer, and then she was told to do that job, and so that's what she did. She went and she did the job that she was told to do. So first off, I think that you guys should probably do your history on it. You should probably, if you need to pull records requests, which was what I was required to do at the time, you should probably do those things, because you do have a community that is reaching out to you, and every voice matters, whether they write in, whether they sign a petition, whether they stop you at the grocery store or the gas station, or they see you wherever. All of those voices matter. It's not just the ones that come up here and stand or that are on record, and that's what you guys were elected to do. You guys all sat in a public forum. You knew that there were certain issues that were very hard that you were coming onto, and you all told the people that you had a heart to fix the situation. So I'm sorry, I'm going to tell you, I'm also a business. Well, I don't know if you want to call it a business owner, but I also do that, and it is 12 hours. Sometimes we come home from mowing lawns at 10 o'clock at night, and I don't know when my dad gets to work the next morning, because he's the one that pulls the trailer. But if he's not, if he doesn't feel well or something and he doesn't make it there by 10 o'clock, that's not okay. We also have young people in this town, or people that don't have a lot of money. And if they have a flat tire on something, it's not feasible to leave your vehicle hooked to that and go and fix it and bring it, you know what I mean? Like there are exigent circumstances, and so I think that your time allotment should allow for those things. And so one voice or 2 voices should not matter. You have a petition that I know has been sent to you. You can read all of the comments on it, and there are over 209 signatures on it. And those voices matter. It's not just to the employees, you know what I mean? You're to speak for the people. You're right, Marla. Even though you disagree with it, it's what the people are asking for. That's the right attitude.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that's the end of that. I do have one other thing. Do you want me to? It was just, I just wondered, this was one of my concerns when I was on council, and are policemen still mowing the lawn? I just felt like that was a huge officer safety issue, and so I just wanted to touch base, and it's fine if you get back with me at another time for that. So, thank you.
Thank you.
I sent the amendment on the parking.
Then we also had, I should have gotten that one, Margaret had a question that she just used the wrong sheet.
Gotcha. Hi, Margaret. Stand up there and.
Margaret Gray, I live in Buell. I have for over 20 years. Been the resident here. And because you guys are having a party up there and I can't hear what the heck's going on. So you may have already discussed something kind of aimed at this. There's been people kind of like asking or making a statement to me, and this may be the question and answer thing. How many properties does Buell own? And not the longitude, latitude, whatever, that kind of stuff, but the actual addresses in English. And what is it taking to maintain these properties financially? And I don't need an answer right now. I mean, it's just a,
What was your question? How many properties does Bill own and what?
pardon?
How many properties does Bill own and what?
What does it cost to maintain them? I mean, if there's properties, they've got to be at least taken care of and, just general upkeep. And I understand that there may be some property out there that we, the citizens, own because our taxes is what paid for, but we don't even know about them. So that was that. And when and where, well, I know where, when is question and answer?
There really isn't. There really is not a question and answer.
Well,
Both your questions, we'll answer them in the following meeting.
okay, so you're saying questions and answering time to different people, so I was just wondering when it is, cause it's not tonight.
Exactly.
If there's a specific question you have, if you have a question,
I can't hear you.
if you have a question regarding the number of properties, certainly public records request can be made to Chelsea. Chelsea can provide you that information.
Yeah.
If there's some specific information you would like, you can do a public records request to Chelsea. Chelsea can provide you that information. Just be specific in what it is that you want to know, just who Chelsea is. And she can provide that information to you. If you have a question that needs to go to a department head, we can direct you to the department head, direct the department head to get to you. It's just, right now, it's just what it is.
I just asked, I would go to Chelsea and she would get it all determined, and then my answer would be given in a meeting.
The answer would be given to you, it should.
But what about people that want to know the answer? I mean, other than myself.
You can read it. You're gonna read it in another meeting.
Okay,
Yeah, because we made comments on every meeting now.
okay.
Yeah.
Then I would give hold of Chelsea and we're gonna talk about this and then she'll follow through with it.
Yeah. You're probably, that's true. Perfect.
Oops, my 3 minutes are up.
Well. Doug? Yeah, one more comment? Wow. Is that okay? Okay, yeah, okay. Make it quick. The other night, we went to the forum in the church over there, and I did talk to Mike Fitzpatrick, our new governor coming on. Supposedly, but yeah, I talked to him about that executive order 13818. And he basically didn't know him that much because he was never notified either, so I don't know if anybody would ever been privy to the information on that or not. No? Nobody determined?
I've never heard it.
Okay, all right, thank
We'll
you.
look it up.
Huh?
We'll look at it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I did receive a letter, that they asked to be read. So I will do that. Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is John. Travel and unable to attend this meeting in person. but I appreciate the opportunity to have this comment read into the record in my absence. I'm submitting this comment along with a full written letter regarding the current parking ordinance, as well as a petition signed by over 200 residents in this community. I want to be clear about what I'm asking. I am not simply asking that this be received. I am asking that this issue be formally addressed. During the April 13th meeting, former councilman Kelly Peterson stated people traveling 26 and a 25 don't normally get a ticket, and suggested that laws do not need to be enforced to the letter because they can rely on discretion. That is not a defense of this ordinance. That is an admission that it does not function as written. Laws should not be written so broadly that they restrict normal necessary activity and then depend on selective enforcement to make them tolerable. That is not fairness. That is arbitrary enforcement. If a law only works when it is not enforced as written, then the law itself is the problem. I also want to address a statement submitted by former Mayor Pamela McLean, who wrote that the primary concerns appear to come from individuals who may be monetarily impacted, and cautions the council not to view vocal opposition as representative of the broader community. That characteristic is inaccurate and dismissive of what is actually happening. The more than 200 residents who signed the petition are not raising minor financial concerns. They are describing the inability to park at their own homes, to load and use trailers, and to complete work without risking citation. That is not inconvenience. That is a structural problem with how the ordinance operates in practice. Buell is an older working town. Many homes do not have driveways. Trailers and work vehicles are not cosmetic issues. They are essential tools for how people here live and work. Under the current ordinance, normal, responsible activity is being treated as a violation. That is a clear disconnect between policy and reality. There is a reasonable path forward, a 72-hour allowance, a clear exemption for tradespeople, and continued enforcement of real safety concerns like blocking intersections, sidewalks, and emergency access. Mayor Haworth has already proposed a more balanced approach. That proposal deserves consideration and action. I'm asking this council to place this issue on a future agenda for discussion and potential amendment, and to address the concerns that have been clearly raised by members of this community. Finally, I request that my full submitted letter representing over 200 signed residents be entered into the official record and included with the meeting minutes or attached materials, so it is fully available for public review. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Here, get that as a friend on Facebook. More common sense. There you go.
All right.
Yeah.
Next is to adjourn.
So moved.
All me. I tell you.
No, going to something else is come by.